How is Facebook affecting the regular way we advertise with pamphlets
Sure.
or et cetera? How's that
Oh,
happening?
that's my favorite part. In my opinion, the old-fashioned way of marketing would be sending a carrier pigeon with a message, going far back. But we've progressed a lot to print media, and I don't want to discourage anybody that's in the business of print media and that still uses print media, because people will say, well, some people don't want to get on this modern technology of social media and internet, blah, blah, blah. What if they still look at the newspaper? That's okay. You can still do those ways. But my thing is, I can explain how the majority of your business can come from such things as social media. Because, for example, if I have 500 clients in a service that I offer and showing people how to be educated on buying something, and I have 500 clients, I need to mail them a new promotion. Let's just say in the month of February, I'm going to have a promotion that will have a 20% off in my service. I have to spend so much time to either on my own or hire somebody to stuff letters, to print the material, to stuff letters, and to pay for the postage to send that information out. That's going to take A, time, B, money. Whether it's my own or I hire somebody, it's going to take time and money. Where social media is at your fingertips, and you can rely a message, you can even personalize a message just like you do with mailing, and you can do it in such a faster rate and pace, and even on your own from your couch at home in your fuzzy slippers while you're drinking coffee. You can do this on a mass scale. So if I want to sell this watch, for example, as a widget, and what I would do normally is I would go tell people, go to my website to buy my watch, or come down to my store downtown, wherever it would be, and come walk in and buy this watch. And what if I have a meeting with people, like, for example, Tom says, I want to buy your watch, but I want to see it. Will you meet me somewhere? I have to drive places. I have to cater them to come to me. What if I can find a way to sit on my computer, sit back, and tell people, come check out this watch on either my website or on my Facebook business page, and then all I have to do is make it enticing and interesting enough, and I can plug it to so many people in such a short period of time. And an example, this is true statistics really quick, is the networking group that I started out of thin air concept. The first meet that I had gathered about 120 to 130 people. The second one was pretty close to 170 to 180 people. It was a thin air concept of gathering people. There wasn't any exciting free giveaways or anything. It was all through Facebook. And within the month of December, through the 5 business pages that I have created, the amount of views I had totaled just over 37,000. Now, is there any print media out there that can be done for free in a very short period of time?
It's a given fact that any promotion or discussion on Facebook has the equivalent of 200 television commercials at one time.
And growing rapidly, and just huge. Going to be even bigger and bigger and bigger. So it's okay that you don't know it, because anybody and everybody can get on Facebook. It's very easy. It's not overwhelming if somebody slows down and says, this is what you do. If somebody shows people how to do it, 1, 2, 3, 4 steps, it's actually not hard at all. And once you learn it, it's very user-friendly. And a lot of people are scared of the new layout for Facebook because they recently changed the layout. So for all the people that have not got Facebook yet, they're in luck, because the new layout is really great and easy to use.
It's more user-friendly.
It is a lot more user-friendly. And it is overwhelming when you look at it at first, because there's so much buttons and so much stuff that does so much stuff. I can show people in a very simple manner, whether they're young, old, computer literate, or anything, how great it is, how intuitive it is, how easy it is to use, and also how beneficial it is, not only for the businesses, but for personal use as well.
What are the rules of Facebook, especially if somebody were to use a personal page and sell a product or a service?
Rules in legal manner?
No, yes. Or will people be taken off of Facebook if they advertise on their own?
You can. Actually, anybody can. It's a fair system that anybody can post anything that they can physically say or type. But if you see something that somebody posts and it is offensive, and you find it offensive, or they're literally copying something that you've patented or whatnot, you can find lots of ways that even on their little post, there's a little X, you can click on it and you can mark it as spam, or you can report it as abuse. You can report anything as abuse. There's questions that they ask you right away. What kind of abuse is it and why, and so forth. So yeah, anybody and everything can be abused, reported, deleted, or unaccounted for, where it can be a safe and simple system.
One more question about businesses, then we're going to go back to the other, and that is personal pages then can produce business pages, correct?
Correct.
And what is the importance of having a business page if I already have a personal page, which, by the way, I do have a business, Loverable Edge. Okay, good.
Well, you do need a business page. If you have a business, of course, you do need a business page. And it is not a personal page. You don't get friends for a business page, you get likes. And you set it up through a personal page. Once it's set up, your business page does not even have to have your name stamped on it. It's however you want to market it as a business. Do you have a website, for example, a .com, .org?
Yes.
And you tell people normally that you have a service, correct?
Yes.
You're offering a service as a person. So for people to utilize your service, they have to go to your website to find you, to read about it, and maybe even set up either an appointment or maybe pay you and so forth, correct?
Yes.
With Facebook, you can utilize the business page in the same way, two different ways. One is you can direct them to your website, but that, I don't want to go too far and forth, but that's not the better way. The better way is you can actually keep them on Facebook and still utilize it in the same manner that you would redirect them to your website. You can post enough on there to keep them connected with your business right through your business page.
And I will say, I think it took 2 minutes to create a business page.
Yep.
Very simple.
Yep. It'll take me 5 minutes to explain it to somebody that doesn't know how, and it will take me 5 minutes to explain to somebody how to set up Facebook, and it will take me 15 minutes to explain the basic interaction of Facebook for anybody that's intimidated by it or thinks it's not worth their time. After that, I can go into lots of webinars that can cater them to multiple different venues of how to utilize it for personal business, what for personal, how to cross-reference, how to cross-promote, lots of topics from there.
To get in touch with you, for you to do that, how would one person do that?
Typically, I would say the email is the easiest way for most people. And my email is my first name, Anton, @exoticapparel.com. Exotic is spelled with a Q instead of C. That's the way that my business name is spelled. The other way is Facebook. Because email is starting to me, going to email is weaving out into Facebook. Anybody I meet and I say, do you have Facebook? Facebook me a message instead of email. A message is personal, it's private, it's just like an email, and Facebook has less spam. When you get a message on Facebook that you consider spam or heavily marketed from something, you can block them, and it blocks them forever. So mine's filtered. I get no spam on Facebook, so I use it more than email. So for anybody that wants to get a hold of me, find me by my first and last name. I think there's only 4 Anton Babiches in this entire country, maybe 5. And through me on Facebook, they can click on my info, and they can see everything that I do. Click on that particular topic of the info. It takes you right to my business page, all my information, very simple and very easy.
For the individual who is on Facebook, a couple of things. One is you can write personal email messages, and it only goes to that person, but you can also write on their walls, and other people can see it.
Correct.
What kind of caution do you have? And I don't want to discourage people. I really want to encourage.
Yes.
But what kind of cautions do you have about writing on walls, et cetera, if any?
Well, actually, depending on what you do, I do 5 different things. So when I write something on anybody's wall or post something on my own as a status, I try to keep it professional, and I can cross-promote, and there's lots of ways that you do cross-promote really well, but I would never post anything that would discredit anybody for anything. Just like saying when you're in business to sell a product, never bash on your competition. Never bash on other people.
The focus needs to be you and the service that you provide, not that of others. I would caution people out there, sometimes Facebook is utilized for non-competes. When you've left an organization, you had a non-compete that you wouldn't sell that commodity within that division. The company you left sees you doing that on Facebook. That's a violation of your non-compete, which could in turn into legal. Some of the answers, career seeker. I was networking and promoting a middle management executive. There was an offer on the table. The last part of it, when the job offer out there, was the employer doing the career search. Well, when you went to the career search, it had my executive client with his arm around a different woman in 23 different pictures, always with a can of beer in his hand.
23 different women?
23 different women with a can of beer in every hand. Whether it's all about impressions, whether false impressions or not, it's impressions. His website gave the potential employer the impression that he was a party boy, that he wasn't a professional businessman.
His Facebook site or his website?
His Facebook site.
Okay.
Gave the impression he was a party boy, and they didn't want to hire a party boy. They wanted to hire a business professional who's a manager, so that job offer was removed off of the table. So there's many, many instances like that. You're branding yourself, you're creating an image for yourself, and it will follow you,
Can I
both
say
good and
something?
bad.
Yes,
On
please.
that note, if you're a business owner and you're looking to hire someone, usually you go through a resume process of looking at a resume of somebody. People have so much time to make a resume, and they can fluff so much stuff and make themselves sound so good. If I was a business owner and I wanted to hire someone, I would go on their Facebook. And the thing is if it's private, you can't see so much, but if it's actual public, you can see everything they post on their statuses and everything. So if I was a business owner, I would go to his Facebook to see his pictures, to see his lifestyle, which would make me understand who he really is, because I would want him to change his whole lifestyle to
It'll
work
give
for
you a
me.
tone of their values, their work ethic, their self-esteem,
Lots
their
of things.
personality.
Lots of things. Their personality is the big one.
Right.
Yes. And we have talked about cautions, what not to say, but for people out there who still don't have Facebook and are a little concerned or afraid, what would you say to them?
My thing is, I tell this to everybody. Lots of people will tell me, well, my kids' pictures are on my Facebook. Why would I accept somebody I don't know? And blah, blah, blah. As long as you don't have your address photoshopped right across your kids, for the people that are not the good people, anytime you have anything out there, whether it's personal, and people say, well, what if I want to keep it professional in business? It's okay. Business people in their offices have pictures of their families. That's okay. I tell people, I accept everybody. People add me after my TV show airs on TV. I get 20 requests on a Sunday night. I accept everybody because to me, if I sell this sport coat, I don't care who buys it. It's revenue for my business, and I could care less how many people buy it. Tom has implanted, visibility with your business. That's the point. And for more people to know who I am and what I do, I encourage everybody to accept everybody, because you're going to be able to offer your brand products or services to all those people. Even if you have a service, maybe a retirement plan. People in my generation right now are not as interested as a retirement plan as people that are older. And that right there in itself is okay, because those people can still, they have parents, they have grandparents, they can still know who you are and what you do to tell other people about it. So it's okay. And the other thing that I always like to say on that note is anybody and everybody, like I mentioned, can benefit from it in whatever industry, whatever service, whatever aspect of careers and businesses that you're offering or personal use. But people say, well, what about a private profile? You can set it up to be private. You can set it up where people can only see your main picture and nothing else but your name and your main picture. That's it.
Until they friend you.
Until they friend you. And you have the right to take the friend and deny it, and then that's it. And then you can even block them
You have
if you want.
complete control. And in answer to your question, I recommend that everybody go out there organic, natural, be real, be themselves with no alternative motives. Think of Facebook as having lunch with an old friend, and you're just catching them up on your life recently, what's happening in your life now, and what you would like to see happen. So think of Facebook on a professional level with professional interpersonal and communication skills, but in the end, it's lunch with an old friend.
Yeah, and actually, it's great. But one example I can just think of the top of my head is, let's just say a gentleman that wasn't heavy with Facebook in his mid 40s or 50s gets on it, gets a friend request from a 22-year-old. That the 22-year-old's inspired by something that he saw from the older person and says, I really want to be his friend. Clicks on add a friend. The older gentleman looks at it and says, I don't know this kid. I'm not going to accept him. Well, what if that kid sells? I'm going to use my watch as an example again. Sells watches, and the older gentleman is or vice versa. The kid is a multimillionaire of some degree that invented something. The older gentleman is in the field or of interest of that type of industry, didn't spend enough time to accept it, to look at him, to ask him, who are you? You can send him a message back, say, who are you? Why did you add me?
I have done that.
And exactly, and I do it sometimes too.
You literally can't meet enough people. It's basically how many difference can one person make versus how many people can a group of people make.
But you are still talking, and you are still talking business. But if we had a personal account, and Facebook is now
Proper
being specific
decorum, manners,
about, if you do
upbringing.
not know this person, please do not friend them. And on that note, we have to leave. We're all out of time. If we were Facebooking, we could go on and on. So I want to thank you, Tom Tonkel and Anton Babich, and I want to ask you how I close this show now. Do I say to my people, to the viewers out there, thank you very much for watching, and please like me on The Verbal Edge on Facebook.
Please like my business
Like
page.
my business page. Like is different now. The word like is... So please like my business page on...
Please find and like my business page on Facebook.
Here I go. Please find and like my business page on Facebook. The page is...